Do you guys have any questions? Yes.
Will Sondheim participate in the revival? My understanding is he doesn't really think very much of West Side Story. He isn't very proud of his participation in it.
Do you know about the revival?
I have not heard that. Again, I want to say that I'm not an expert in theater and I don't really follow closely. So what you're saying could very well be true, but why wouldn't Sondheim be?
He's ashamed of his lyrics. He doesn't think they're very good, apparently. Or so I heard in a recent interview that he gave.
I was preparing for this. I listened to some interviews, and that didn't come across to me.
The reason I ask you is that the songs like the Be Cool song is obviously something that needs some updating in terms of, in my opinion.
Well, yeah, I was sitting there listening to Officer Crumpkey, and I remember the first time I heard that was in a junior high school music class, and I thought today my music teacher would probably be arrested, even with those lyrics going on. So for the time, it was very contemporary. You're right, it's very dated now. But you know, to me, the one thing about this movie that really stands out is the dancing. And Jerry Robbins' contribution to this film. I mean, he did the Broadway play, he did the London play, and he brings it to the film. And you know, he loses after about 60% of the film is done. He's dismissed or removed or whatever. And I think his sin was not the overruns as much as he approaches with such great enthusiasm. And Leonard Bernstein, who I don't think really participated in the film, but does a recording of this piece later, I think in '85, is guilty of the same kind of things that Robbins did in 128 takes on a song. Because these guys realized that once these were done, that was it. They were etched in our eternal cultural memory. And, you know, so Robbins, I think his sin was enthusiasm, not going too far. Plus, he really embraced the process, because Robert Wise kind of was bringing him along, and I think Robert Wise learned from him, but he learned from Robert Wise. I've worked with some choreographers in terms of filming their work, and they're very persnickety. So,
again, I apologize for not knowing more, but one thing that struck me is that, and I believe this is correct, that it's a very faithful reproduction of the Broadway show. Not in every specific point, but you can't help but see the Broadway play in the movie, right? For example, at the end of the thing, you wait for the applause as if you were in New York in the theater.
In fact, when they showed this film originally, people did applause at the end of the
Well, I felt like I wanted to even those points. I think I don't know Sondheim's comments here on that, what led to it, but certainly many Americans have taken many of those songs and made them an important part of our musical history, Maria most obviously. But I think that, and as I understand it, many high schools and college performances of this musical have been played, and so that even though Sondheim may feel somehow, it certainly has resonated with many people, some of the lyrics. And I think even today, it is the closest thing, I think someone said, to having an American opera. The marriage of the traditional lighthearted, musical, frivolous, and a serious theme, tragic theme, obviously of the Romeo and Juliet character. But also, again, at least from my point of view, to address a social issue of that importance. The Puerto Ricans, of course, are not really aliens or foreigners. I won't go into the politics of it, but Puerto Rico is a commonwealth of the United States and has had numerous plebiscites about whether they would choose to become a state, as Hawaii and Alaska did, or whether they would prefer to keep their current status, or whether they'd rather be independent. And that issue is still out there, by the way. So that they did not have the issue of undocumented workers or illegal aliens, choose your term. But clearly it was a Latino culture, and we saw much of it, the importance of the family, another feature of the film in which the Latino influence was extensive and was addressed beyond the normal immigration discourse.
You bring up Romeo and Juliet, and this isn't attached to Romeo and Juliet. The question I want you to take home with you tonight is, why doesn't Juliet die? I've thought about that a good bit. I think I have an answer, but I'll let you figure it out.
Well, that's a good question. I have nothing more to say, but why don't you give us a clue? Because I'd like to know.
I think it's because the movie ends with the note that we will persevere. If Juliet had died, it would have ended. But it's looking forward.
I think that, I see that. I mean, one of the things that occurred to me is it wasn't a traditional Hollywood ending. You had both gangs come to help carry away the body. But at the end, they did not merge. They did not, you didn't find any unity. They both kind of parted and went their separate ways. And perhaps by not focusing on Juliet, you focused on the social dimension or the unfulfilled idea of what you're saying we will endure. And interesting idea.
Any other questions out there? Yes. Well, that's a 2-minute warning. Yes.
Who was the art director? I looked for that credit, and it certainly was impressive in that respect.
I'm not sure I can give it to you in short notice here. Let's
Set
see.
director is Danny. It's good you pointed that out because it's wonderful set.
I'm sorry,
Is it Boris Levin?
Is he art director or set designer?
Well, it would have been production designer. That would have been the credit. It used to be called art director, now production designer. So, well, I'm sorry.
I have the,
Okay, well, we're not Google.
but Google will have it, of course.
Yes. Yes, ma'am.
Just as a footnote on history, I saw this the year it opened in New York.
On
I
stage?
took my whole family for Christmas.
On stage?
And now this is probably the 20th time I've seen it in one form or another. It holds up well.
Yes.
It does. I was amazed myself at how sucked in I got again.
Yeah.
Well,
It looks so confusing.
thank you very much for your, I enjoyed the movie as much as you did. Thank you.
Thank you.